Welcome, welcome. Agentic CMO, how to become one, how to move from chatting with AI to building agents. Look at this interest and look at the agenda that I put together. First of all, the agenda is informed by your challenges. 1,200 people sign up. I managed to read partially, and Claude helped me analyze all of your challenges. And today we'll focus on content, how to create good content at scale, how to create value with the content, and what is agentic CMO means, and how to build and architect very complex agents. And I'll start with a small introduction. I'm Victoria. I'm an ex-CMO, and I have been in marketing leadership roles at Nestle, Intuit, E, and Oatbox. I started very early with AI. In January 2023, I created a course, AI in Marketing, and so far I have 15,000 marketers who took it. Super blessed and grateful. Last year, I decided that chatting with AI is not enough, and I made that shift from experimenting with AI to building agentic systems. And it all started from my marketing teams. I saw the value of content engines, geo production, SEO content production, reporting. And then I started to get clients who wanted the same approach to agentic. And this is how company was built absolutely organically by doing the work for my marketing teams and then for clients. So far, I'm training and consulting companies at Amazon, Oxford Online Pharmacy, Vago, and many more. And I'll be sharing some of the case studies from my work. And super grateful and blessed to have Nicola join me as a program lead to help me with some of the educational programs that we're launching. And Nicola, after you.
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many of you here on a mission to become an AI-powered CMO. I'm Nicola, ex-CMO of 25 years, marketing coach and community leader. I've recently made the journey from AI chat to agentic AI with much support and encouragement from Victoria. There was so much fear and procrastination from me, and now I have no idea what I was worried about. So really excited about taking some of you on this journey too. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. Please do say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're from and where you are on your AI journey. Are you stuck on AI chat or a serious Claude coder?
Mm-hmm.
Ask any questions you have in the chat. Victoria will answer the top questions at the end of the session, but she will also give a detailed response to all the questions in a blog post in the coming weeks, so you will all get an answer. And do share your AI experience throughout the session. It really helps all of us grow. And I know a lot of you will be wondering, we will be sharing the recording and the slides tomorrow.
Yeah, this is a top question. So, who are you? Who are people in the room? So, 1,213 marketing leaders, founders, consultants, salespeople interested in agentic sign up, top enterprise and growth challenger brands. It's incredible to see such appetite for agentic, but also to look at what exactly is on your mind. Stuck at AI charter prompting, it's a top inquiry, top challenge that you face. Too many AI tools. I'm experimenting, but I'm not seeing real results or the value, or the content, the scale, the quality of what I'm getting is not there. I'm doing something, but I can't show or measure the ROI and present it back to the board. And it's very challenging for people running AI transformation on top of marketing. It is time consuming. But what stuck the most for me is how it feels. This webinar attracted leaders, people who are at the front of AI. But some of the verbatim, some of the challenges that I get, they are quite overwhelmed and anxious. And for me, the most interesting is to see how, if leaders of this world feel this way about AI, can you imagine how your team feels? What is their attitude? How overwhelmed, how fearful, how uncertain they are about the future? For me, I hope this webinar will give you some tools to lead yourself, but also to lead your teams on this journey. Because for junior people, the journey is even more anxious. And some of these beautiful verbatims are telling us this story. And I want to start with three things to ground you, three things to give you peace of mind of what is happening in the world and how you can progress to agentic. The first of all, I like to say that AI is like fitness. And this is an AI generated photo that I'm very grateful for AI seeing me this way. AI is like fitness because it requires consistency, leveling up one step at a time, and meeting you where you are. It is your journey that might be different from another person, but if you don't start, there is no progress. You can't jump from chat to mega complex agents in one step. You need to level up one step at a time. And the top excuse I hear from people that they don't have time. And for me, the message is clear. We don't have time for anything like for AI, for friends. We make time for things that matter. So if you make a choice that you want to become agentic, you want to embrace a new technology that is disrupting every space of our life, here is my top tool that gave me 5 hours a week. It's Whisper Flow. The same as 20 years we were handwriting everything, then we learned how to type. Now we voice dictate. This is my personal snapshot of Whisper Flow. As you can see, I used it across 131 applications. This means I can use it in WhatsApp, in Slack, in Google Docs, but also in SharePoint. It works cross applications. I have completed 5 books. So all the text that I dictated, I could have transformed in 5 books. But the value that it brings you, apart from giving you 5 hours back, it allows you to be more natural and authentic with AI assistant versus typing. When you type, you make it more concise, more eloquent. When you voice dictate, you are more yourself. And here, authenticity of content matters so much for us. This is the first tool to master. And now Nicola will share a link. The link gives you 30 days. And after, I think it takes around 2-3 weeks to really establish a new habit. So I hope you will enjoy it. Now there are no excuses that there is no time. You can easily make time back just by start voice dictation. And after that, you can also start your journey towards agentic. Let's look at what is happening in the market. I have created this AI adoption checklist with different stages of adoption because it was also interesting for me whenever I work with clients to understand what stage they're at and how to move them a stage up. The majority of marketing teams are still at stage 2 and 3. They are playing with AI. They're having some tools, some prompt libraries, but they are rare when I meet agentic teams that are fully embracing stage 6 or stage 5 of agentic marketing. This is good news. We are early. There is no crisis. We can breathe, learn, and implement agentic. But also what I see that the gap is widening. People who are companies and teams that are agentic, they're becoming even more sophisticated. They're automating more things. And this is exciting. And people who are behind, they are behind. And the gap becoming bigger. Particularly with Claude, what Claude Cowork did is made agentic easy to try, test, and implement. When before you needed Make and Itan, you needed more complex systems to try agentic. With Claude, it is easy. So the time is now. Let's start with agentic, and I'll share with you the simplest framework that works for me to understand what I mean by agentic AI. There are 3 levels, and you can think about it as a journey. You start with assistant, fast individual output, you are in control, it's one task, you give feedback after every task, there is a lot of control from your side. Then you move to automation. It's a repeatable workflow. There is step-by-step execution, and human is in the loop, depending on complexity and depending how important is the step. Then you have agent. For me, the difference between automation and agent is that agent can run a step, report back, take feedback, analyze results. So there is more thinking processes inside the agent. I haven't seen so far an autonomously run agent, same as I haven't seen an autonomously run marketing person in any marketing teams or in any teams. The way we work as humans, we always share information, get feedback from different marketing teams. So I haven't seen these autonomous marketing agents in marketing, and I would love to see it happening in the future. You always have human in the loop. I also, when I see on this, like it reminds me almost like me having a marketing manager on my team. So when I onboard and delegate a task, a project to a marketing manager, I will never say, go then create a mega expensive campaign, right? Like I will start with a small or do rebranding, right? Like it's just too complex for a new person. I will start maybe, oh, let's reshuffle blog post, or let's do this, let's launch a small campaign, let's write. So the complexity of delegation will increase. Same with the agents. I find the first mistakes is trying to build a complex agent without mastering assistance and automation. It is a journey. Let's share some examples. So for assistant, you can have a writing assistant. I know lots of you have custom GBT or a skill for writing assistant, or you can have some title writing, or for sales, you can have some client ready summaries or proposal assistant. You have one task that can be one brief is very well contained. When we jump to automation, you have multiple steps. So here the steps are running either on schedule or there is a trigger. So, for example, the trigger might be you have a new piece of content that triggers that all other pieces of content are created. Or you have merchandising automation. You have a new product, and that new product in your system triggers content to be created and the product being onboarded, right? So there is some trigger that triggers it, but there are multi-step processes that needs design. An example of automation that I want to share, and although this webinar is about content, I like to think about everything as content, right? Like a proposal to a client is content, your report is content. It's just that the audience of this content is different. So a very common automation request is proposal to delivery agent that helps agencies or sales teams to create proposal. So you can have an agent that reads call notes, draft proposal, create a proposal presentation, send proposal to client, generate project plans. And in a current Claude Cowork, you can create this agent with Claude Cowork in 2-3 hours. That will be the work. It's very easy, straightforward. There are multiple steps that go from one step to another, and there is human in the loop that gives feedback to the agent that in turns can improve the agent itself, right? So when we go into agent work, it's more of a goal-based system that has task tools that can check their work. It can QA the work and say if the work is good or not. It can iterate, it can take feedback on. So for example, one of the agents that I'll be sharing today is a generative engine optimization agent that creates generative engine optimization content. And this agent produces content, but also analyzes results and iterates based on results. That agent also looks at the mistakes that it potentially makes during the writing and learns from these mistakes. Whenever there is learning, feedback, result analysis, you are moving towards more complex agent. Let's come back to our proposal to delivery agent. So as soon as we add a feedback loop, something like update project plan based on client feedback, as soon as you have that, your automation becomes an agent. As soon as you have agent thinking through some of the feedback or analyzing information, having this thinking potential, it becomes an agent. As you can see, it is a journey. You move from simple assistants that you QA, you check that they're working and delivering high quality. Then you group them together, you chain them together into automation. And then on top of it, you bring feedback, results, any insights, any iteration on the quality to make the output even better. And the raising of complexity happens on technical level, but it also happens on mindset level. We as a human, the more we trust the output of AI, or the more we know how to operate AI to get high output, the easiest for us to move level up. So how do we create agents? What is the value it generates, and can it generate value? So whenever I look at the value that is generated, I think about productivity wins, workflow redesign, operational transformation, and innovation. And a lot of us are stuck in productivity wins and thinking, it's boring, it does the same as I do, as a human can do, just handle some steps. When in fact, where the value comes is from looking at the way you do work now as a team or as a company, mapping that workflow. And some people are using also SOP, standard operating procedure, and then deciding where AI brings value and where human brings value. And the third category is innovation, and I would love to see more innovation in the world. AI native companies are showing us this innovation when they're completely disrupting how things are done. Let me share with you some of the examples on a content engine. Productivity wins that almost every company is doing. AI drafts or you draft the post, and AI checks tone of voice, grammar, messaging, or fine tunes it. Or if it's a scientific content or medical content or clinical, it can give you some guidance. Or you draft the content and AI check compliance. And that is very popular workflows, particularly in the health space. Let's think how we can operationally transform this process. You can say, okay, why don't I, as a human, come up with creative, unique messaging? Uniqueness is, by the way, so important to AI because AI output without your input is average. So you start with saying, I, as a human, I'm the driver, I own the unique messaging. I will input it to AI, and then AI writes different assets for all channels using my input, my templates, my example, my guardrail. On innovation front is almost thinking, but why do I need content? What do I want to achieve with that content? Oh, I need content because my client has a question and wants an answer. Is FAQ really the best way to do it? No, I would even prefer to have an AI avatar on my bank app to answer all my questions using the content they have rather than me going through long FAQ to find the answer to my question, right? That is innovation. Another innovation that is already happening, I saw in financial institution called Wealth Simple in Australia doing it. Onboarding. Current onboarding, it's a series of emails. This is how we're marketing. People will say, okay, onboarding, we'll have a series of emails. Maybe it will be also some in-app onboarding. But how about you have an AI voice agent that is outbound, that calls a new client and talks them through their financial product? Financial products are complex and our customers need a lot of support. This is an innovative approach of how you create real value with AI. Or the third use case that I really love is now we know that in order to be listed in LLMs, you need a geo or AO optimized content. And for a lot of websites, it's very challenging. You need technical infrastructure. JavaScript is very painful for that. So you have companies that create websites that are there only to feed the LLM. So instead of you as a brand saying, oh, I can't reach LLM because of my technical constraint, because I need to structure content to LLM in a particular way, you are creating a website that is there to serve only LLMs. That is also an interesting approach of how you adjust to AI first world. Let's focus on content creation. That was the top inquiries. 13% of you mentioned that as your challenge. And thank you for your beautiful comments. Quality, brand voice and differentiation, content systems, SEO, geo, creative assets. These are your top concerns. And let's talk about it. The first, whenever I talk about content, I'm always concerned about talking about content systems or talking about content creation, content production, because in its essence, it's content repurposing. AI is average and it will create you the most average content if you don't give it the right input. And from you as a company, the best input you can give is your brand guardrails, tone of voice, style guide, do and don'ts, and examples. AI, by the way, loves examples. AI is much better at understanding your brand via examples than via tone of voice. And in fact, when I coach marketing teams, I say tone of voice and style guides are created for humans because we as a humans, we can't read 100 examples to extract your tone of voice, but AI can. So in the future, I believe tone of voice and style guides will still be useful only for the human, when for AI, tone of voice will be 100 examples of your tone of voice. That is much better for quality assurance. And then your unique content. What is your soul? What is your uniqueness? In geo, there is this term called information gain. It's like when I read your article versus another article, what is the additional unique information gain that I will get? If you don't have unique content, most probably you will get lost in the tons and tons of AI generated content. So this is what creates unique content. I will still use content engine or content creation, but for me, the clear understanding is that we are repurposing the original content created by humans that is unique, that is yours on brand, that has very unique stats, research, point of view, and from that, AI can generate assets. And now we'll start with the most painful topic of how to generate quality at scale and how I do it at Applied AI Co. The first topic that is not glamorous at all, but is the top concerns of why AI fails is data readiness. You are not ready for it. Your company is just not ready for AI. And I've had one more slide. I'll add it to the presentation when I share about data readiness, because when we talk about data readiness, it's not only your Google ads, your reporting, your analytics, or your dashboards. It's also all the information that you have internally, your reference documents, your brand guidelines, your style guides, your examples, how well is organized your campaigns, how well you organize your current marketing documentations. Do you have a standard template for all your past campaigns that you can upload in order to understand what worked, what didn't? And the biggest problems of marketing teams is data readiness. Data is not there, or there is a lot of information held by different people. Oh, that brand guidelines, last 5 slides are not actual because we changed and we have different templates. Nothing is actualized. So if you want to spend like time preparing for AI, get your kitchen in incredible or structured order. Hallucination is happening when your naming conventions are wrong, when you call things differently, or in one source you call it campaign, and another you call it launch plan. This is when AI can't stick data together. The second, we discussed already brand guardrails, codified rules that show the agent what good looks like for you. Because what good looks like for me or for one of my clients is not what good looks like for another client. Everyone is different. How do you share that differentness, that uniqueness with AI? The third one is agent QA. When you build a workflow, you have some agents that do the work and other agents, managers, that check the work. And if you think what we do with agentic approach, we replicate the human behavior within AI. Or let's say it differently, we take what operational load that is takes a lot of time and move it to AI, because human will be there always, a decision maker, a person who decides what is good, a taste maker, the person who has discernment and critical judgment. But a lot of operational work is like, oh, the link is not working, or you use the right reference. We don't need to use for that human capacity. So agent QA, and I'll share with you examples of how it works, is mega important. Then there are evals. Evals measure how well an agent performs. So if your agent created 20 pieces of content, you can have an evals evaluation that will say, from these 20 pieces of content, all of them pass the evaluation that you have and criteria that you have. I rarely use evals. I prefer agent QAs, and I'll share with you. and then human in the loop. You are there to give feedback, the same as you do with your content manager. If they didn't get something right, like the stance that I normally have is like, oh, what is the context I need to share with that person to make them understand my world and create content that is on brand, on style, and on quality that I need. And here I want to introduce you something that I came up that makes clear to me how to become agentic CMO. How do you take all this information and move from AI chat to becoming agentic? First of all, I believe that you need to build. You need to build agents yourself. Again, with custom GBTs, with skills, with Claude Cowork, it's becoming very simple and it will become even simpler in the future. When I started launching an NA10 automation, I hired AI engineers for that. Now there are tools that are easier and it will become even easier with time. Then you need to architect. Your capacity to build will be limited to some technical abilities and some abilities of the tools you use. When you want something that is more complex, has more connections, connects with your internal data, you need to know what you want and how you can explain it to your company. And I call it an agent brief that has exactly what you want to accomplish, how it works, what is the business case behind it. And as a leader, you need to lead. Yeah, not only your marketing function with AI marketing roadmap, but also your team. Remember, they want from you guidance, peace of mind, understanding where to go, what good looks like, how to move. Like, AI is overwhelming emotionally for a lot of us, and I feel like as a leader, this is our responsibility. Whenever I think about agentic, it makes me think about websites. And I remember when 12 years ago, I was at Scale Up and I was told, Victoria, you have to manage website. My first was like, wow, like why? Like I'm a marketing, why am I managing website, right? With time, I completely understand why website is becoming the most, like is the centerpiece of marketing activity. And as a marketing team, you normally have capacity to build some landing pages, duplicate products, launch new products within your CMS. It's possible. It's easy. When 10 years ago it was very difficult to do. Now it's easy. So you build websites internally as a marketing team up to some limit. Then when complexity becomes too difficult or you have a technical build, you need new functionality, new component. As a marketing team, what we do, we write a brief and we go to technical team to support us. But in all of these circumstances, we are leading on website. We know how we're going to use website to convert our meta traffic or to generate leads or to drive SEO traffic. We are leading on website. So for me, website analogy is quite useful to frame the agentic CMO mindset and how you can move from building agent yourself. And by the way, with time, you will get more functionalities and features and tools to build agents because it's becoming easier and easier. And in general, AI capabilities double every 7 months. Like imagine what was possible last year and what is possible this year. It's just incredible. So with time, it will become easier and easier to build agents ourselves. We will still need some help from technical teams to architect more complex agents. And I do believe that implementing agentic within marketing should be led by marketing, should be led by subject matter experts who know what is working, who knows what good looks like. On that front, I want to share what is possible to build today within the AI assistants that we have, and Claude is leading the pack. Again, Claude, ChatGPT, there is a rivalry there. At one point, ChatGPT was much more advanced in terms of model and functionalities. Now, Claude, I look at it this way. As soon as you understand agentic, it's like knowing how to drive. You can drive any car and you can update and remove and change your car, migrate to another car, depending on what is available on the market. The skill set of how you design an agent is much more important and essential and strategic rather than what tool you use. So I'll be sharing my own content agent in Cowork that uses 9 skills, free data sources, and there is one project involved. So as an input, I use webinars. So this webinar for me, it's partially giving back to my community, but it's also a source for my content. Then I have a content planning skill that extracts ideas. I have multiple writing skills. I have multiple quality gates. I have been playing a lot with with the skill called Humanizer, how to make AI content not sound as AI. And I think the more input I give, the better the content is. And after that, I have outputs such as LinkedIn posts, newsletters. I have some support skills, particularly my sales coach is an incredible skill that helps me become better at selling. And the most important skill from all this that I called Think Like a CMO that I wanted to share with you. So, how do I create content that gets you hooked? So, imagine I did a webinar in January. I got 180 people signing up. It was a beautiful webinar. It was homegrown. With my March webinar, I got 1,200 people to give me that time with 2 LinkedIn posts. And if you look also on the LinkedIn post, initially this webinar was called AI Powered CMO. And then I transitioned it to become an agentic CMO. How did it happen? Disclosing my top secret, that is synthetic persona. Synthetic persona got mixed reputation in the market. So first of all, what it is, it's an AI generated representation of your target customer. And a lot of people say that you can ask ChatGPT, act as a CMO or act as a woman who is in her 40s going through perimenopause. And this is how you generate synthetic persona. No, this is how you generate, I call it generic role play. You can get some value out of it if you completely don't know your audience. For example, if I'm sitting in London and I want to launch a campaign in Nigeria, like I would get some information by using that approach, but that is not real synthetic persona. Your real synthetic persona is when you use first party data, customer interviews, survey responses, registration, calls, transcripts, community posts, scraping LinkedIn, Reddit, and other, like getting real people telling you what they think about the problem. So without first party data, AI is guessing, improvising. It will give you okayish, mediocre reply without your input. With first party data, AI is thinking like an audience. And here is my top secret that gets me good content. I have a skill that is synthetic persona of a CMO that is called Think Like a CMO. So, my last webinar, I got a lot of CMOs. All of them shared their concerns, challenges. I have a lot of granola meeting transcripts with interviews. I have community data that I got from LinkedIn. So I can filter this data by seniority. And based on that, I categorize the challenges, themes, jobs to be done. I use jobs to be done a lot, personas, and I launch it as a Claude skill. So now, when I want to understand, would my audience resonate with that messaging? What is the best hook that will hook my audience? I can test webinar copy. I can test and validate messaging of landing pages. I also do a lot of copy swiping. If you know this technique is when instead of writing your own headline, you take the exact verbatim, the exact copy that your audience used to explain the pain or the benefit. Copy swiping is very popular, very powerful. So if you think now, with 1,200 people, my Think Like a CMO skill is becoming even more powerful. But I also want to think how you can use all the data, all the insights that you have on your audience, on your ICP, and build your synthetic persona that will allow you to do such granular marketing. The ability of AI to synthesize, to analyze, to categorize information is much beyond what we can do as a human. So That is my top secret. For everyone who is on enterprise, by the way, there is Electric Twin, a company that does synthetic persona for big corporates. Very successful, raised money, and this is exactly how they do it. They gather a lot of first-party data, or they help big companies create that first-party data in order to create synthetic persona, where instead of launching some unsuccessful marketing campaigns that can cost millions, you can pre-test creatives and messages. Okay, from this home-built Cowork agent, I want to share something more complex that I have done for a client, Oxford Online Pharmacy. Super grateful that they allowed me to share it. And it's a generative engine optimization content production. So Oxford Online Pharmacy, it's a pharmacy that wants to get more AI generated answers, and it's a very regulatory but also scientific medical content on weight loss, hair loss, and ED. So here I'm also want to share with you how I measure the outcome, because whenever I look at what I'm producing as an agent, I look at the output and outcome. So output, I will produce an article. Outcome, what will be the traffic revenue, how that content will perform in terms of financial measurement. That is a useful framework. But for this case, I also come up with experimentation approach. I really like use growth marketing techniques in AI, because AI is a growth channel. This is where the growth and the future is coming from. So what I created here is A/B test of different articles. One is AI briefed, human written. We also call it AI assisted. And another one is AI briefed, AI written, and human reviewed. What is interesting, that AI was managed to produce a first draft that it took a copywriter 1 hour 15 to edit, when on average it takes 4 hours to produce that same content on scale. So for everyone who says, I don't want an AI generated content, it's fair, but AI can generate the first draft that will speed up the human production of a content. Let me share with you the structure. So I always start as a human. Like as a human, if I'm writing an SEO or producing an SEO content, how will I do it? I'll have a brief, I'll write, I'll check. That is very simplistic for stages. Then I say, okay, can AI do it? The first realization that AI can't research and create a brief in the same step. There was a lot of hallucination happening, so I split the test. For everyone who says, I don't get quality, just split your task in 2, 3 to make better quality. So researches first, then builds the brief, then there is a writing. These are 3 executional steps. And afterwards, we go into QA, quality assurance. Writing quality assurance. Did the writing align with the brief? And what I love about my QA agents, they're not only judging the work, they're also fixing. So they're doing the work. Evals, by the way, they're only judging the work. The eval saying this the work complies or not and gives a rating. When writing QA, they also fix the content. Then there is factual check. This is a medical grade content. Is it aligned to factual check? Is it aligned with authoritative sources that we have? Then there is compliance. Is it compliant? Then there is internal links. How can I link this piece of content with all other category, product, blog posts that are written by this client? Then there are external links. Then there is citation check. Why are we writing this blog post? Because it should target and hit particular prompts. Are we still hitting those prompts? Then there is human review. And as I mentioned, there is first copywriter who in this case, the copywriter re-edits the article. And in this case, copywriter will just check and say, yeah, it all makes sense. So there is a human writing. So what is happening with human writing? Now I can use that. So I'm getting 2 levels of feedback, one from copywriter and another from a client. Thanks God, from client. Now the feedback was 100% amazing. So all this feedback I can go into correction log that I'm still building that will again feed back into writing. And I will, with time, I will have the performance that will again will feed back into in another content planning agent. So this is what I wanted to share with you, what is possible to produce with step-by-step agents. You can easily build this also in Cowork. It's much neater to build it in NA10 with Airtable as your UX UI. Hope you liked it. So in this workshop, I shared with you lots of ideas of how you can produce high quality content, from geo to reporting to your own content system, how you can move from AI chat to becoming agentic. But what I see happening is a lot of people are stuck in seeing or knowing how to do it, but not actually doing and building it. This is why I have an invitation if you would like to join. Nicola and I will be running Becoming the Agentic CMO, an accelerator that will help you become agentic. Again, I believe anyone on this call, anyone who got to be a leader in the modern world, can do it on their own. It will just take you slightly longer. You might have some roadblocks on this journey. So if you would like a structured approach for marketing leaders to join on 6-week accelerator where we learn how to build agents. I selected the 4 most popular agents: strategic marketing agent, that is your thinking brain; content engine, very similar to what I showed before; campaign launch, how to launch a campaign for scratch. It can be product launch, it can be B2B or B2C campaign; and how to launch market and customer intelligent agent. Apart from building agents, we also architect a more complex agent that can be absolutely bespoke, tailored to your team, customized for your business. And as real leaders, we also need to lead marketing roadmap, to create marketing roadmap and look at the adoption plan. That is essential to drive culture change. This program is really well designed. We have briefing on demand on Monday, then we're building on Wednesday, then we have office hours live on Friday. We have a build partner, and the community. I find that in the community, in the group setting, you learn so much how other people think agentic. And we are starting on 27th of April, 3 hours a week, limited cohort. If you are eager and you have time commitment and desire to become agentic, please apply. I would love to welcome as many people who want to put the work and become agentic. And super thrilled to have Nicola with me on this journey, an experienced CMO, but also coach, because it's not only building an agentic skill set, it's also driving the agentic mindset that does require a lot of transformation. And on this note, I wanted to share, I know it's a webinar and a lot of you coming and joining it for information, but information is not enough to drive change. Let's get to some actions. Like, what are your actions? What are you taking from this webinar? How do you see a pathway of becoming agentic? If you want to share in the chat any of the commitments that you have, that will be great. If you want to post a LinkedIn post, that is the biggest for me. Thank you is to get a LinkedIn post, but also a public commitment works for a lot of people of 3 things I'm doing to become agentic, or what I want to do to be agentic. Here I want to share a story of Sam Knott, who joined my webinar in January. Absolutely not sponsored content. It's part. We're part of CMO Circle community, and he posted this amazing message, the saying that he went to my webinar, learned what I shared, implemented it, and now he really sees the shift in his role, building agents and making his team agentic. If one webinar could drive such change, imagine what we could do together in 6 weeks. So if you would like to join Agentic CMO Accelerator, that will be a pleasure. Nicola, if you can share the link with the guys. And the third most important message for me, lead AI adoption. It is important to lead it for yourself and have a stance and action it, but also important to lead it for your team, because all the research and all the stats are showing that junior people are suffering the most. They don't have direction, skills. They're afraid for their jobs. The uncertainty from the companies killing them. They see other companies laying off people. Like the whole emotional support is missing, and stop experimenting and start building, because AI can be a power for good. And for everyone, I know there are a lot of topics about AI. I see it as a tool that you can use aligning with your values, aligning with your experience, and generating something beautiful, and building a better life for yourself when your time is used on creative and value add things rather than operational work. And on this note, I am done. And I see the chat was very,
Oh, it was
very,
on fire, Victoria.
wow.
So many great questions, great insights, lots of recommendations, lots of connections. So, yeah, it's been really wonderful both to listen to you and see some of those conversations going on as well. I do have a couple of questions. We have lots, but as I
Yeah.
said, we'll get back to all of them over a blog post in the next couple of weeks. But a couple that have come up, and one that really resonated with me was, how much technical skill do I actually need? This was my big concern.
So, if you know how to brief, if you have ever delegated a task, if you ever onboarded a person, is the same skill set. And the skill set is, can you translate your world, your expertise, the process that you're currently running to AI? Can you explain it? And if you can explain it, you can build it. Second, I find there is a very useful human skill that is underestimated in AI world, is the skill of giving feedback. So if you learn that I never receive I never receive 10 out of 10 from my team, right? Like it's always the process of giving feedback, of iterating, but also being aware if someone didn't understand me, how I can explain it better, right? Iterative approach is incredible. And you don't need to be technical to build the content engine. The first one I showed, anyone on this call can build. It's absolutely possible with co-work and skill, by having lots of examples of what good looks like for you.
Thank you. Some great commitments coming in as well. I'm very happy to see them. What's the difference between what you went through today and what we're actually going to build in the accelerator?
So I shared one client example and one personal example. The content engine is very similar to what we'll build for in Accelerator, but in Accelerator we'll build for your company, right? So here it's useful to think, what are the examples? How am I currently producing content? How do I create that uniqueness? What is my input? And for a lot of companies, the input is a messaging doc or campaign document or landing page or press release, depending on the company. So it's very useful to start thinking company wide. Another thing to consider on the company level, you have more assets, more touch points. You might have much more data that we can connect than a personal level. You might have many more insights that you can pull together. So it will be much more complex and information rich agents versus what I discussed today.
Thank you. And a question that came up from a few people. If you work in a large corporate with lots of compliance and approval layers, often tools like Claude aren't allowed. So how can you actually work in that environment?
Yeah. So last year I did a role at Vago, that is part of Admiral Group. It's a huge insurance company in the UK. And although Vago was a scale up, it followed all the compliance rules of Admiral. So what is important for me? First, if you're in big corporate, you're much more restricted by the tools. So you need to be much better in agentic. You need to know exactly what you want, how your agent will work, what will be the pluses, what will be ROI. I will generalize, but normally you don't have so many opportunities to experiment. Like in a scale up, you will normally buy 5 tools, try them, assess them. There is much more experimentation possible. When there is compliance or bigger companies, you don't have that on hand. So you need to be much better at agentic. And for me, I will also explain why Claude Cowork. It's because this tool allows you to see, design, and feel agents in a very easy way. Tomorrow, if there is another tool that has the same capabilities, we'll be using that tool. But tool doesn't matter. Agentic skill set is a skill set. How you think through your current process, map it out, and move it to AI. This is the real skill. So if you learn how to do it with a Claude Cowork, you can afterwards do it with Copilot, or you can do it with your bespoke. By the way, a lot of enterprise companies have their bespoke AI assistant. This doesn't matter as soon as you know the process of doing it. But otherwise, for all the corporate and big companies, guys, I think the pressure is much higher on delivering ROI, delivering something that is really working and is embraced by the company. So the skill set that you need is much higher. When in a scale-up startup environment, you can experiment more.
Thank you. And just to follow on from that, there's a lot of questions about cyber safety for your AI agent. How do you make sure that you're getting, I love this question, not scavenging on data content outside of the brief, but also how do you balance how you're leveraging it personally with your team as well?
Yeah. So first, every assistant you use allows you not to share data back to LLM. And if you haven't checked, like on your personal accounts, please check that you are not sharing the data, that LLM is not training on your data. That is the first level. Second, as soon as you have teams or business accounts, by default, your information is not shared back with LLM. So you are pretty safe on that. Plus, with a lot of tools, you have read-only access. So information you can't write, you can't change information. There is read-only. So for me, safety is almost knowing what is safe and doing and using it this way, and designing a safe agent. I will also mention something on PII. I'm a very big believer that it's better for AI not to know PII and remove any personal identifiable information. So if you follow these 2 rules, I think you're safe to build an agent that is safe.
Okay, another question. If you're wanting to move from one LLM to another, can you transfer any agents and work you've done?
So what is agent, like what is the most useful for an agent? The most useful is how you designed it, what is the prompt for every step, how it connects with different tools. This is the most useful. And that is tool agnostic. I can build, for example, if I build a complex agent, sometimes I will do it in Claude as a proof of concept, and I will just play in Claude until I'm happy with the output. And only afterwards, I will move it to NA10 or Claude Code. So the more you think about it as website as a skill, right? Like if you build website on Shopify or WordPress, you know how to do it on Webflow. You're not worried like about it. So there is a process of moving, and it's quite uncertain world because the tools are moving so fast, right? Like I do assume that in 3-4 months, ChatGPT will launch something amazing and everyone will be on ChatGPT. I'm more concerned about like, do you know how to build an agent? Do you know what sequence works? Do you know how to QA the work? Do you have all this information and knowledge and skill, rather than what tool you build on?
As we're running out of time, I'm going to ask one more question, which is my selfish one. What would be your one takeaway for everyone that's joined this webinar?
I, uh, as an emotional human, I look at emotional side of AI, right? I look at the human side of AI, and I think it pains me the most The fear, the anxiety, the overwhelm, the stress that it generates. Uh, and I almost look at it from the perspective what I can do to change it for myself and for others. Like, and I feel the more people are afraid and not using it, the more distance it creates. Like, for me, the message just start using like it's like fitness. Just put a note, start using it 30 minutes every day. Look at Whisper Flow, will give you time back. Start using it and also see how AI becomes the amplifier of you. It's your values, your content that is amplified. And the more you can use it and have a healthy relationship with AI, the more you can help other people do the same. And for me, it's not about going and building 10 agents. Just build one skill, build one project, then build two skills. It's a progression towards a more organized and agentic future that is also sustainable for you. Because I also see a lot of AI consultants that look like they have no life, no life, no sleep, no exercise. Like, and I'm like, oh well, I don't think this healthy. I'm doing now a group coaching session with the coach, and I invented a new approach. I call it embodied AI. Uh, I call it I think it was like embodied agentic approach. So what I do when I run an agent, I just sit down and I breathe like this. I don't run five agents in parallel. I just breathe. I think, wow, life is beautiful. The agent does work for me. I can breathe. Why? Because this is what I see this consultant who's like, I'm running five agents. Here's this. And I'm just like, that is not what AI was there for. AI was for me to be creative, play, experiment, do the things I want and love while doing the operational work when I drive it, right? And I also feel it's almost like doing feeling gap. Like the more you do it, the more you feel how you can have this healthy relationship with AI. And the more you just sit in the I'm afraid, I don't want to touch it, it's evil, what about safety and security zone, the more distance and the more anxiety you create.
The perfect note to end on. It's all about having a healthy relationship with AI and also just having fun. That's how Victoria got me into it. She's like, just play with it. And you're like, this is actually quite fun. Thank you everyone for joining today. It's been wonderful to chat to you all. And Victoria, thank you for such a fabulous session. We will be sharing the recording and the deck tomorrow, and Victoria will be following up on some of those questions that we didn't have time to answer as well.
Yeah, the chat was booming. Thank you so much, everyone, for so much love.
And look forward to
Yeah.
seeing some of your commitments on LinkedIn. I've seen a couple already coming up in
Oh,
chat. So, yes, hope to see more of these.
yeah, let's just start the journey, and I hope everyone will have mindful and embodied approach to it. Oh, thank you, Nicola, for your beautiful moderation. You're incredible.
Thanks, Victoria. Have a great rest of day, everyone.